I'm Muireann Quigley. I'm a lecturer in bioethics at the University of Manchester. Synthetic biology is creating some building blocks of life that either are or look like existing biological organisms, but in a lab. Well, there could be quite a lot. There could be medical applications to do with drug delivery, creating synthetic cells that can help to deliver drugs to the body. Slightly more interesting applications could be building on existing research with tissue engineering, as we could make things like synthetic tissues and synthetic organs or biohybrid organs, which would mesh together existing kind of biological cells with synthetic parts. Well, I think questions of property and ownership and synthetic biology are very interesting because at the moment it raises questions about how we should treat synthetic biology. Should it be treated as property? Should people be able to own the hard products of synthetic biology, such as the artificial tissues and biohybrid organs? And at first glance you might say yes. However, this would be contrasted with how a lot of people generally treat the human body, where they say we can't have property and ownership in it, we can't have property and ownership in our own organs or our own tissues. And if that's the case, then synthetic biology raises the question of why these new organs or biohybrid organs should be treated differently from our own. No, not necessarily. I think it depends what you define life as. So, for example, you could have a minimal cell which just has all the very basic structures of a cell. That itself could be called life. Or we could have more complex structures such as multicellular organisms which work together and are themselves some form of living organism. And it's not necessarily wrong. I think it depends on the application that they're put to or the consequences of creating them. Personally, I don't actually think that synthetic biology raises any new issues that other biotechnologies that we currently have raised, such as research on genes, such as even biotech research that is nothing to do with human life or human bits. And I think claims in the media, such as saying, oh, this is playing God or creating life, it's drawing analogies with Frankenstein, are just scaremongering. Again, it depends what applications the technologies are put to, which will determine whether or not it's an ethical use of the technology or a morally good or bad outcome. Well, I guess some people would say that we shouldn't spend money on research that isn't going to lead to some sort of practical outcome, or at least some sort of good outcome. But it depends what you think a good or a practical outcome is. So we might think that research is good in and of itself for research's sake, and that knowledge acquisition and knowledge generation is good. And often these lead to new practical applications anyway. Synthetic biology, just as synthetic biology, I don't think is any different to any other blue skies research. And often blue skies research is very creative and very imaginative and actually leads us places that we could never have envisaged going anyway. So I do think that it's worthwhile and good. Yes, I do think synthetic biology is overhyped. I think it doesn't raise any new issues such as the issues raised by any genetic research or nanotechnology. I think the same arguments were drawn up again and again in those debates in the past, and I think they're just kind of being brought out again for the purposes of the media and some good stories now.